Hello, my name is John Fabian. I'm with Carter Steel Guitars, and this video is basically for 6-string guitar players who think they want to play steel or have thought about playing steel and think it's too hard to learn, or there are too many strings, or I don't understand the instrument. You'll find out by watching this video that you already know everything you need to know to play a pedal steel guitar. Yes, you'll have to train your body to make some different moves with your hands, your knees and your feet. You taught your body to make different moves when you learned to play guitar. So this will require a little bit of learning in that area, but basically you'll find that your musical knowledge will map right out onto the E9 Nashville neck, which we'll be talking about. We'll be using these 3 pedals, the top neck of this double neck, which is tuned to E9, and these 2 knee levers on either side of my left leg. Back neck is tuned to a C6, and we're not going to cover that at all. So basically you're going to find out by watching this video that this is not some alien instrument from Mars. It's just a guitar. It's a little bit different way of doing things than you do on your guitar, but it's still just a guitar. So at the end of the video you'll find some contact information. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We have a wealth of information up on several websites which will also help you. So having said that, I think it's about time to begin, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to rip all the frets off your 1940s D'Angelico. And as soon as you pick yourself up off the ground and stop screaming, we're going to say this is not a problem. And we hand you this bar, like this, and say, here are your frets. It's a movable fret system. And instead of pressing your string down to meet the fret, like you do on your guitar, you put the fret on top, like this. So basically, to help you, we'll tune it to open E. And as the chart shows, you'll see we have some other strings that are not part of an E chord, which would be a B, an E, and a G sharp to make up an E chord. Actually, it'd be E, G sharp, and B in that order. We have a couple extra notes, the strings 1, 2, 7, and 9, which are F sharp, E flat, another F sharp, and a D. We're going to ignore those. We're just going to concentrate on strings 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. And kind of remember those numbers. They're important. And these are basically 4 triads of open E, which sounds something like this. Just for your reference, this lowest note, this B here, the 10th string, is equivalent to the 2nd fret of your 5th string on your guitar, 5th string being the A. The 4th string, which I sometimes call the top root, the E, is equivalent to your 1st string E. So that will give you some idea of about sound-wise on the guitar what the range is. So you say, well, I understand, I know my fretboard, so I know where E and A and all those chords are, but how do I make chords since you have me dragging this bar around? And it's relatively simple, and here's how we do it. And we're going to use both the name of the chords and the notes in the triad, as well as the number system. And what the number system does, it's used for chord, you can use it for chord construction as well as chord progressions. Basically, it's nothing more than numbering the notes in the scale. And we have a chart of a G scale, and you can see the notes. G is number 1, A is number 2, B is number 3, C is number 4, D is number 5, E is number 6, and F sharp is number 7. So, and then there's G is number 8. So, I mean, that's very simple, and that's how chords are constructed. A triad is a 1st, 3rd, and 5th tones of the scale. And you can kind of check that out. That's about as much theory as we're going to talk about, and you don't need to know theory to play E9. It may help a little bit, but and knowing it certainly won't hinder your playing. So anyway, let's get on to what we're doing. So we're going to actually use two of the pedals in combination to start with, just to give you an idea of what's going on. We're going to use this A pedal, which is on this guitar, is the outside pedal here, and we're going to use the B pedal, which is the second pedal on this guitar. And by using these two together, what happens is I get an E to A chord, or a 1 to 4 change. So what the pedals are doing individually, and we'll explain that now, the first pedal, the A pedal, is raising the B's to C sharp. Strings 5 and 10 go up to B sharp, or up a full tone, 2 frets. Raising the fifths a full tone, for those of you that use numbers. And that will give us, when used by itself, a C sharp minor or a 6 minor chord. The second pedal raises the G sharps to A, or the third tones to a half, the thirds a half tone, and will give us a E suspended fourth in position, sus4 chord by itself. And as we said, together, it's E to A. That's basically what happens with the first two pedals. And of course, all the inversions are still available to you. We're not going to go into those. We're just going to keep it simple. I have a knee lever on this guitar. It's located on the inside of my left leg here, that lowers the roots, or the E's, a half tone, E to E flat. And what this gives us is a G sharp minor, or 3 minor. It also gives us a E major 7th. So if I use that with the B pedal, raising the G sharps to A, I get a B 7th, or a 5/7 chord. So let's kind of review what's gone on so far. And for those of you that were brought up in the 50s with doo-wop, I'll just do a quick 1, 6, 4, 5 type thing, or actually E, C sharp minor, A, B 7th, which would be something like this. Which you may or may not recognize, but basically what I've got now is a 1 chord, a 3 minor, 4, an A, B 7th or a 5 chord, and a 6 minor, and the major 7th. So 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, what's missing is a 2. Which will be an F sharp minor in the key of E. And to do that, we're going to use the second pedal, the B pedal again, and the C pedal, pedal number 3. And then this is where it's used. And what the C pedal does by itself is it raises the top root, or E, a full tone up to F sharp. It raises the B under it, or the fifth, a full tone up to C sharp. And we use that in conjunction with the B pedal, raising the G sharps to A. And then on strings 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this is basically the only pedal combination that doesn't work across all 4 triads. It only works on the top 2. It gives us a 2 minor or an F sharp minor. So now I have a full scale without even moving the bar. 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 chord, 7 chord, and 1. Or E, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A, B seventh, C sharp minor, E major seventh, and E. Again, E, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A, B seventh, C sharp minor, E major seventh, and E. I also have a knee lever that raises both roots, or both E's, a half tone to F. On this guitar, it's the outside knee lever. If I use that by itself, or, well, let's use it with the A pedal. Let's raise the B's up to C sharp again. C sharp minor, if I raise those E's, I've got a C sharp major. Still no bar, just all in the same position. If I release the pedal, I've got a C sharp seventh, or a 6-7 chord. 6 major, 6 minor, 6 seventh, also my diminished runs. And that pretty well covers most all the chords, basic chords we really need to make, except for an augmented. And to do that, there's several ways, but the easiest way with what we've seen so far is just step on the A and B pedals, raising the B's to C sharp, the G sharps to A, and then raise the E to F. Like that. And you have your augmenteds. So, and you know, as you know, you use these for passing chords, playing in and out, like C chord, so there's a lot of pretty stuff up here, and as you can see, it's relatively simple. This is all stuff you know anyway. You know all these chords, and you use them, and we're just forming them a different way than you do. Instead of using our left hand, we're using our feet and knees. Relatively easy. And you say, well, great, I understand that because I can see how you're making chords, and I know, you know, where my inversions are. I know if I go up to fret number 7 in the key of E, I'm playing a B with an E formation, and if I step down to make an A formation, I'll have an E again. That's right, and A is here. So it'd be A, B, E. All right, so having said that, but you know, when I'm playing single strings, my fingers are flying across those frets, and you got me dragging this big heavy bar around. It's like, my next question would be, how do I play fast? Well, other than the old adage of practice, what we've done on the steel is basically we put more strings on to make the interval from string to string closer than it is on your guitar. You have to move 5 frets, basically, to move from string to string on a 6-string guitar. On this guitar, due to the pedals and knee levers and the extra strings and the tuning of it, I don't have to move very far to play chromatic scales, and that will show you what I mean. Don't have to move the bar as far as within usually 1 or 2 frets off the root fret that I'm working on. And because I don't have to move the bar as fast, I can move across the strings rather fast. And that's basically covers most everything. I'm going to cover a couple more things now just so you understand kind of how to put this all together. And you say, well, yeah, I mean, you can see now how what you know is going to start to map out on this thing. A few things you should know. When you push the pedals down, and we'll take these two first. In addition to making chords or just changing individual strings and pulling them, you're really changing the open tuning of the instrument. And that's kind of where those strings we were ignoring before, especially like the 7th string, the F sharp, comes in. Obviously, the D, string number 9, will give us a dominant 7th, E7th, in position. But the F sharp's interesting. It's the 9th tone. Yeah, that's E9th. When the pedals go down, however, that F sharp becomes a 6th, and the open tuning now will become something we call A6th tuning. And it's just something for you to remember, that the open tuning actually will change because of those F sharps. We can also tune it open to a B6. That F sharp, by the way, became the 6th tone of A, the 6th. That's why it's called A6, because it's an A chord. As we know, with 8, 5, and 6, add the F sharp on string 7, it's A6. If we lower the B's, the E's, like that, we have, and we play the 7th string. Let's skip the 6th string here just for a minute. I have a B chord because F sharp is the 5th tone of a B triad. And the G sharp turns into the 6th. So now I've got B6 tuning. This will come in handy later as you move on, because there are things you'll hear like usually played on a 6th tuning, Western swing, stuff like that. But the country stuff you hear on records is basically E9. I want to make sure you realize that you can change the tuning of the open instrument also by using your pedals and knee levers. So you say, okay, I understand all this, and it's a lot to take in, and I can see I have to do some work, but I think I can do this. Well, I'm going to add a couple more things just to throw them in the pot so you kind of understand how easy this instrument really is. We've shown you how to make chords and triads. What we haven't told you is the real secret of this instrument in a lot of cases, and what you hear on the radio and different records, is the fact that we play what I call quasi-harmonized scales. And by that I mean we only play 2 of the 3 notes of the triad. We don't play all 3. So I don't have to do a true harmonized scale. I just have to play 2 of the 3 notes. And I'll give you an example. Here's the nice thing about how this instrument works, because there's 2 ways to do it. Obviously, I can play scales moving this way, back and forth. I can play scales moving this way, back and forth, across the strings. I can also play scales this way, moving up and down across the strings. So, or the other way to look at it is up and down the fretboard, back and forth across the strings, whatever. But let's try a scale this way for a minute. And let's just go to the key of G on the 3rd fret, no pedals. A scale would look something like this. Simple stuff, and out of that comes things like additionally, you can use your B and C pedals, and this will actually allow you to play a true harmonized scale if you wanted to. So those would be lateral scales, whatever you want to call them, versus perpendicular. Perpendicular scales work the same way. So basically that's it, and we do a lot of that on this instrument. I hope this has been informative for you. If you have any questions, just contact us at the information shown on the screen at the end here. Thank you for watching, and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.